We cover the latest topics and trends making waves across the sport and chat with our industry's most prominent leaders, so your golf business stays one step ahead. Welcome to Golf Business Live, powered by Club Caddie.
Here's NGCOA CEO Jay Karen
and owner of Augusta Ranch Golf Club and president of the PGA of America, Don Rea.
Good morning, Don Rea. Oh my gosh, it's 10 a.m. on the East Coast, a new time for this episode of Golf Business Live. Welcome to the August 2025 episode, everybody. Coming to you live since the spring of 2020, powered by our friends at Club Caddie. Thank you so much, our friends there in Michigan, a show where we discuss happenings on the trade side of the golf industry. I'm Jay Karen, CEO of the National Golf Course Owners Association. And the ham to my egg, Don Rea, president of the PGA of America and owner of Augusta Ranch. Welcome to the show, Don. How are you?
I'm doing good. Oh, it must be early. You got a little frog in my throat. I appreciate you going a little early for me. You know, everybody talks about my shoes, but the man behind the shoes is my dentist. And I've got some dental work. I got 2 temporary crowns. I got to go in and put the permanent ones on this afternoon. And there was no way I was going to do this show all numbed up. I tend to ramble anyways. And with 2 numb cheeks, I probably been a little jacked up. But yeah, traveling a little bit, but I'm here, baby. What do you got for me, Jay? We got a good guest today.
Heavy is the head that wears the crowns. Oh, pretty bad joke. Hey,
Yes.
Yeah, we got a great guest today. We got Evan Roosevelt from Old Tom Capital today, and I can't wait to get to him. We got some shop to talk first. But to all those folks watching on YouTube, Facebook, X, LinkedIn, again, we invite your comments. We will filter the trash from the good stuff and surface it on our show. And
there's some trash men out there, Jay. They're still on LinkedIn. They're all mad. I blocked them, and now they're all upset because I blocked them. And they're all in their own little echo chamber, aren't they? There's like 4 people who respond to some of those guys, and I refuse. Got 33,000 members, man, and there's always this loud minority of people. But
let me ask you this. All right, let's stop for a second.
Yeah.
Hang on a sec.
Yeah.
That's kind of a change in strategy for you. Like to kind of block folks out. Is a psychologist kind of advising you, like, look, Don, you can't bring the negativity in. How do you then leave? How do you leave room then for the? Well, then let me ask you this: how do you leave room for the discordant voices, like, to get to you, so that you're at least hearing that if you're blocking folks?
Well, I mean, hey, I'm Don Rea. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm a dad, I'm a husband, I'm running Augusta Ranch, I'm president of the PGA, but I'm still a man. And to me, there's some credibility, there's integrity when you're a man and you're in the business world. And I just think that, hey, if you want to answer questions or ask questions on LinkedIn, I'm in. And every one of those guys, I private message them, I send them my cell phone number, and I say, give me a call. Love to talk to you. I don't want to post on their thread, Jay, because then I'm bringing my entire crowd to them. And why would I do that? I'm nothing but positivity on LinkedIn, Instagram, or Facebook. And, to me, when I post to them and say, hey, here's the answer to your question, and call me anytime, and then they post my personal stuff or a personal message between them and them on their post, I think you cross the line at that point. I mean, my phone still works. Anybody wants to call me, love to talk to you and answer any questions about the PGA of America. There's nothing that I won't talk about. But it was hard for me too, because I've never blocked anybody, but I did block 3 guys, and because they don't want to call, they don't want to look for the solution. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to answer to the other, 32,997 members out there that are really excited to be PGA professionals. So, hey, I'll still post a lot of stuff on LinkedIn, but not going to get into the personal stuff. I can't go through the mud, brother. Got to take the high road.
No, I get it. I've been on that side where private communications then get aired out on social media, like, email communications get copied and pasted, and this is this is what Jay Karen said. And it's just like, man, And then once you start crossing a few lines, then it's just, I get it. So I understand. Now I'm in a place where I'm trying to find a way to bring the legitimate conversation, always have an open space for that. But if it goes so far and the behavior is not as constructive as it needs to be, then I totally get having to have guardrails, right?
I will say this though, Jay. I'll give him credit. To the point where, now we're a little bit more intentional of like getting out there and saying, hey, okay, if you were confused, well, then here's the facts. But I do have a big update at Augusta Ranch. I don't know if you're going
Please,
to jump into your stuff, but
let's go.
big capital project, Jay. Big capital project at Augusta Ranch. The range is closed down. The Top Tracer range is closed for a month because it's bursting at the seams. I've got that little buckets place I built. I've got to extend it. I've got a contract now adding more room to that because people are hungry when they play Top Tracer, and my little buckets wasn't big enough. I put another grass tee on the other side of the range for more teaching, and I'm raising my nets thanks to the HOA and I are working together to raise my nets on the right side. It's about $500,000-$600,000 in renovations, but when something's working, you just keep putting more money into it because it's the right thing to do. So, yeah, excited. A lot of upgrades happening at Augusta Ranch. Kind of hurts to be closed for a month. Everybody out there who signs the front of a check understands that when you're not signing the backs of checks, the fronts of the checks start to outrace the backs of the checks. And we don't like that. We don't like that. But really excited for the team out there. They're doing a great job. I wish I could say that I had anything to do with it other than walking around going, looks good. And so it's exciting days at Augusta Ranch. Can't wait to see it open September 5th, I think, or right around there.
Fantastic. That's great news, man. To be able to see capital going into, the green grass golf courses and to get them up to speed for the next 10, 15, 20 years. And that'll be a great segue. It's when we bring Evan on.
Show. Yes,
yeah, I know.
That's a good show.
Oh, yeah. Oh, look at this.
Wow, look at that.
Is that buckets? No, that can't be. That's not buckets right there.
That's the little buckets. Buckets is bigger. Buckets is getting bigger. Buckets is having a baby. I'll tell you, that little guy right there, I thought was sufficient. Who wants to put money in food and beverage? Let's be honest, not me. Food and beverage money never turns out and flips into profit. But people are hungry, Jay. They got to eat. They got to drink, and I didn't have enough room for it.
I think I only saw one business on the Old Tom Capital list that has any food and beverage. So maybe there's a a link there between profitability and investing in food and beverage. But people got to eat. But I am seeing, dude. I think I saw headline. I don't know, Associated Press or Wall Street Journal. Just the restaurant industry are they getting to this tipping point where the costs are so high to go out to eat that Americans are going to start ratcheting back, because we've had this whole generation of people going out to eat like we've never had before, like in the history of America. And is that seen a tipping point now, because of the cost? It's just, I admit I went to McDonald's in the airport on the way home from Los Angeles yesterday. I don't do that very often, but I swear it was a hamburger, a fry, and a shake. It was $13. Like, this is McDonald's. I thought, what is happening?
It's 4,000 calories too. I think it was probably 4,000 calories.
I didn't eat all of it. I just have, a couple bites. I don't eat the whole thing. But, and then, Moe's, like I take my kid, my 6-year-old to Moe's. That's our place, right? A quesadilla, a little queso, a soft drink, whatever. 2 of us is over $40. It's like, wow. It's a quesadilla. What the hell is happening right now with this? And I understand it. I understand the economics of it. And I understand paying living wages and all of these things that go into it. But where is there going to be a point at which, like, we can't do this? We're just going to have to plan more meals and all of that. The old-fashioned way I grew up. When I grew up, Don, my family, 4 boys, we went out to eat literally 2 nights a year. My mom cooked 363 nights a year. We went out 2 nights a year. The night before school started, and the day school ended, like to celebrate the school year and kind of get. That was it. That was it. It was usually Golden Corral, that kind of place. It's just like, so eating out feels like a luxury that so many Americans now, get to enjoy, which is wonderful. But holy cow, is it expensive? But anyway, that's my soapbox a little bit right now. I want to hear.
Yes.
Any secrets you can offer leading into the Ryder Cup in a few weeks?
Can you keep a secret, Jay?
Oh, I know. I can too. Is that what
So can I? I can say, excited. Obviously, about 2 weeks from today, we'll be at the home quarters of the PGA announcing those 6 captains picks, and I can just say I'm excited where Keegan's where his head's at right now. The guy's just all about the Ryder Cup, and And I think he's going to be an amazing captain, whether he's playing or he's not playing. And we'll see what happens. I mean, all I would tell everybody out there is like, listen, we're pretty smart. I mean, there's data. There's lots and lots of data out there, and Keegan wants it all. And so whatever decision he makes, it's not going to be based on emotion. There's going to be a metric. And so that's all I can tell you. And nobody wants to win more than Keegan. And that makes me very happy. So, no, there's really no secrets other than let's see what everybody plays and how many youngsters will be on the team. I got youngsters, they're a little older, but first timers. But I love to see the support that's coming from some past captains out there and some players. And people are talking about the Ryder Cup. If they're talking about the Ryder Cup, then maybe I can do a segue to talk about the PGA of America, which is it's not what the money is, it's what the money does. And that's my best segue as president, is to tell everybody what we do with all this money, which is grow the game and serve our members.
Are you going to be able to do that during the Ryder Cup, like through PSAs and all that fun stuff, I assume?
Absolutely. I mean, that's one of the reasons we do the Ryder Cup. I mean, obviously it's a global competition. It's amazing, but there was a time it didn't make any money. Really. I mean, ABC approached this one time back in the 80s and said, "Kate, can we pay you not to broadcast the Ryder Cup?" And now, it's an amazing sporting event, but certainly it's an opportunity for us to play the commercials of being a PGA professional, working in the golf business, wanting to play golf. It's a great delivery mechanism for us to tell our story during that week when the story of golf is being told on the golf course.
That's great. I'm looking forward to watching. It's going to be exciting. Hopefully the drama is placed in the appropriate places where drama needs to be in an event like that, right? With the competition and that the fans are rowdy but respectful. It's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be a great week, So
the Junior Ryder Cup, I don't know if somebody saw my post, but Charlie Woods is out there trying to make the Junior Ryder Cup team, something his dad never did. There was probably 200 people following Charlie Woods when we were out there at Purdue for the Junior PGA Championship, which first and second on both sides, the boys and the girls, makes the Junior Ryder Cup team. So we're excited about the Junior Ryder Cup team because they're playing their singles matches on their last day, Thursday morning on Bethpage Black. I'll be up there with my suit and tie, Jay, announcing names on the first tee, and excited to also celebrate the Junior Ryder Cup as well as the Ryder Cup that week.
That's awesome. That's great. It's going to be a great week. A couple things I want to get to. One, just a little announcement from me. This past week, I was in Los Angeles for a pretty enormous convention of over 5,000 people for the ASAE conference, the American Society of Association Executives. So a association that represent every sector and profession you can imagine was there. And I had the honor of being installed as the chair of the organization, a 52,000 member organization. And so Don, you and I, this show right now, we are sitting on top of two enormous industries, the golf industry and the association sector. Right? It's an honor to kind of be the chair. My term is only 1 year. I know yours is 2, but I get to serve alongside other officers on this board. Include the CEOs of the American Forest and Paper Association, the pediatric nurses, the Steel Manufacturers of America. We have quite a wonderful group of board members and officers to run the association sector, which has its own dragons to slay in Washington, with nonprofits under attack in America, looking under every rock for new taxes from that sector, which does so much for the American society and economy. And the one big, beautiful bill that passed recently, ASAE, was the tip of the spear of the bill that now allows Americans to use their 529 savings accounts on licenses and certifications. So those looking to get into, might be the superintendent realm, irrigation, PGA of America, possibly, to the costs that go with getting your certification, your licensing. You'll be able to use what was previously earmarked for college for these programs, which is pretty awesome. So very excited to be doing that. So Don, you and I, man, we heavy are the heads that wear the crowns. Oh yeah, and Magic Johnson was our keynote speaker last week. Talk about,
man,
pretty awesome dude, man. That was he gives a heck of a presentation. That man he does not like a stage. He walks out into that audience and just works the audience. It was so fun to watch. So that's going on, and a few industry issues before we get to Evan. One is we announced recently that we're doing this Tee Time Summit on October 13th in Frisco, Texas. The day before our Golf Business Technology Conference, we're bringing together the Tee Time ecosystem to kind of start tackling what are the next 25 years need to be in the tee time space. where tee times with no shows, waitlist technology, AI, Google. What should the terms and conditions be with companies that are reselling tee times or allowing golfers to resell their tee times? We've seen more activity in this space the last 2 or 3 years than we have in 25 years. And so we're bringing the ecosystem together to get around tables and workshop and co-create what the future should look like together. And so we've got some great companies jumping on board early to join us in this workshop. Trying to recruit any of the tech companies that are involved in this. We'd love to have you participate because your voice is important. You're the ones that deploy all of this. We'll have golf course owners and operators at the table, subject matter experts, kind of hashing out and working on what the future can look like. Don, if we could go back in time to 1995 and have the same kind of meeting when the internet was this whole new thing, wouldn't that have been a good thing for the golf industry to figure out how do we co-create the future together and work together and play well in the sandbox?
Oh, no doubt. It's funny. Brett Darrow was just on another podcast and I was listening to him, and man, I was getting flashbacks of days that I was faxing in my tee times to Golf 10 because I was running the golf club at Eagle Mountain before it became Golf 602 and eventually Golf Now and then the Golf Channel Bottom. But it's been a long time. It's been a long road. And you're right. And there's still people out there like, what? I had no idea. So I hope a lot of PGA professionals go to that conference because it's just, you got to be on the tip of the spear, as you said before, on a lot of different issues. And PGA professionals, LPGA professionals, we should be the smartest ones at the golf course, leading the business side as well as the player development side of a golf course. So to do that, you got to get around people who are talking about what the future is so that we can react to it and maybe pivot so that we take advantage of it. So great job. Kudos to the NGCOA putting something together like that, because I think it's going to educate a lot of people, and high tide raises all ships. Nothing worse than a bad operator in your area lowering prices to draw rounds. We've seen that. We lived through it. But now there's other things happening because they're not taking care of the human experience, and maybe they're putting money into capital when it should be into people.
And our objective here, Don, is to come out the other side of this Tee Time Summit with best practices, maybe blueprints for how terms and conditions should look in the future.
Right.
Partners, our merchant processing partners, technology partners, and so forth. Because this is about mutual health. This isn't just about protecting the golf course owner's interests. We want our tech partners to thrive and succeed, but we have to make sure that there's mutual health kind of built into the terms and conditions. What are the best practices and all that kind of stuff. So we're looking forward to that day.
Hey, you remember my oxpecker speech? Do you remember my oxpecker speech? The bird that sits on top of the rhinoceros, right? It's a very symbiotic relationship. We don't need parasitic relationships in the golf business. You're leading us to a world of mutualistic success, right? Symbiotic together. I can't wait.
All right. Thank you for that. Oh, that's very nice. We'll see. You're raising the bar and expectations. We're going to have some messy conversations. I know that's what's going to happen, but we'll try to come out the other side with some clarity. Okay, let's pivot to the guests of our that we have on our show today. Let's bring Evan Roosevelt on.
Hey, good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Evan, what's up, man? Good to see you.
Hey, Don, good to see you both. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, sure. Let me do a little intro here. My friend, Mr. Roosevelt, is the co-founder and managing partner of Old Tom Capital. First question is, how'd you get that name? Where'd that come from?
Oh, there was kind of a legendary entrepreneur and disruptor of the golf industry a couple hundred years ago that inspired us.
Very good. Very good. So you're a seasoned startup growth executive and advisor. You've built and scaled multiple early stage companies. You played a key role in the success and launch of the Random Golf Club, which Eric Anders Lang is a friend of mine. So I'm very familiar with all that. And what is it? The mad scramble that he does, which is total fun to watch. So you invest in, you're basically, to put it in a nutshell, you're investing in golf in multiple companies.
That's right.
And I'm going to read a list of some of the recent investments that you have, because I do want to talk about some of these as well. Yep. You got Blue Jeans Golf, which is Golf Ranch, Grass League, Sagacity, Trip Fusion, Strut Motors, Golf Card, Whoosh. And your broader portfolio includes Drive Box, Fair Game, Tomorrow Sports, Birdie Houses, which I'm really, that's pretty darn exciting. Sweetens Cove Bourbon, Lusso Cloud, Quiet Golf, Terra Rad, Good. Man, you guys have your fingerprints on a lot going on in golf. All right, first question, why so bullish on golf?
Yeah, I mean, listen, golf is one of the most resilient spaces in the world, right? And what we've seen post COVID is that there's real staying power and stickiness with all the folks that picked up a golf club during that time period, whether they picked up a golf club for the first time at Top Golf or a putter at Pop Stroke or out at Augusta Ranch. They've stuck around. They've gotten the bug. They've kept coming back into golf, and then there's also been this tidal wave of entrepreneurs, that really sophisticated entrepreneurs that have built, scaled, and sold companies in other categories that have picked up a golf club during that time period, became obsessed, and started looking around and seeing opportunity to build their next great startup. And so, Drivebox, the company you mentioned, we invested in them twice along with the PGA of America. And, their founder, Adil, he came from building verticalized B2B SaaS software for hospital management. And during the pandemic, he became an absolute golf sicko and was driving around San Francisco and was like, man, I wish I had a simulator at home and I just don't have the space. And so he started seeing all these trailers parked around the city and said, man, if I could just put a simulator in a trailer, I could park it outside and my wife would be okay with it. He did that. And then he realized there was a business to be built there. And he brought in a PGA professional to help him scale that. Jake Hutt, who kind of is a wonderful guy on content on social media. And they're off to the races, right? And it's democratizing access to the game in a way that creates staying power. And I think that, from our perspective as an investment firm, there's been a white space in strategic capital being deployed in this industry, despite the fact that there's like so many investable pockets throughout the industry, right? And when you look at the broader sports investing landscape, there's fractional team ownerships, there's value creation at the broadcast agreements and sponsorship level. But within golf, like every single golf course is actually like 10 different businesses all kind of bundled together, right? There's a food and bev business, there's a driving range business, there's a retail store, there's an agronomy business, et cetera, right? And so that means that there's a lot of investable pockets there. And with all these great entrepreneurs coming in, the staying power of the golfer, it's just rife for institutional investment.
So I have, because we don't have a lot of time together, I do want to talk about some of these investments in particular. And like, for example, Blue Jeans Golf. Talk to us a little bit about Blue Jeans Golf, because, what I like about this is it could fill this space over the next generation, where I'm concerned that affordable green grass golf courses will continue to close down, not because they're failing, but because of redevelopment, right? Yeah. The public golf courses that usually cost $40-$50 around, they're going to be near suburban areas or in suburban areas near cities or whatever that were built 30-40 years ago. When you look at the supply trend, they're going to continue to close because of development. It's the American dream. It's sad for golf, but it makes sense economically. It's hard to argue with that. It's tough. I know Brandon Elliott wrote an article recently that I saw on LinkedIn, just kind of how golf courses that shut down, how terrible it is that this happens, for the communities and all of that. And I get it. But what he missed in the story, I think, was the other side of it. What's the golf course owner's story there? And, were they offered a $20 million check that's generational wealth to them and their family after operating a course for 30 years? That's what happens, right? It's the economy. So my concern, Evan, is like, where are people going to play outside affordably for the next 20 or 30, 40, 50 years? And are these short courses? Are these ranges? Is that gonna scratch the itch for the golfer to play affordable golf?
Yeah, no, I think it's a great question, Jay, and a great topic, and something we think a lot about. So Blue Jeans Golf is the parent company. Their brand, which most people are probably familiar with, is Golf Ranch, and they're acquiring driving ranges, and they're layering in top tracer technology. They're putting a pretty minimal Don food and beverage program there. It's a flat top with a grill and some hot dogs and stuff, but they're a driving range business, and they're just creating an absolutely stellar product in the driving range category, and something that appeals to serious golfers, obsessed low digit. Yeah, there's a picture of one low digit handicap golfers that want to go and work on their swing, all the way through new golfers or golf curious folks. the term that they and we use to describe the business is golf light. And I think it's really important when you think about the shifting, the shifting demand from golfers. I think the days of, thinking about golf as a 4-hour round on a 18-hole, 7,000 yard course, that's kind of bygone. I mean, there's a place for that. There's a place for high-end private clubs. There's a place for high-end daily fee, all of that. But actually what we're finding with a lot of golfers, most golfers, and certainly newer golfers, is that they're looking for shorter experiences, right? And so, I think they're looking for par 3 courses, executive courses, alternative formats, and not like a Top Golf where you go and spend $100 an hour to eat some chicken wings and hit a couple shots, but like real golf, but in a different format. And so with Golf Ranch, it's a driving range business, but as we think about the broader landscape of public and accessible and municipal golf, one of the things that we're working on is a municipal golf improvement fund and mechanism. So we've partnered with Kemper Sports to go in and win RFPs in local municipalities to take over a long-term lease operation for short courses with driving ranges in urban areas and bring in some outside capital, bring in a great operating partner in Kemper, and then create a really, really stellar product for golfers in that area. Because I think that actually municipal golf is the answer to all of that, Jay, because municipal golf courses, and really when you look at the ownership of that, it's the city, right? It's the municipality. Those are green space. Those are never going to be sold off to developers. They're a public amenity, but they need to be optimized. They need to be run like a business to ensure their viability for the city and then also provide a great experience for the golfer. And so we're working on a couple RFPs right now. And if there's any, municipalities or public folks that are running golf programs at cities listening to this, like reach out to us, talk to us about partnering with us, because we can bring outside capital and operating expertise to create, really great public access golf products for urban areas that desperately need that green space, Audubon societies and pollinators. And, that green space is so valuable in cities. And I think the answer is really like public golf, actually.
So, Don, I mean, you have experience with this. I mean, these are standalone places that Blue Jeans Golf is creating. What about investment in the green grass courses that might have room to build something like this besides municipalities? I know municipalities is maybe a target here, Evan, but Don, could you see working with an old time capital? If you didn't have the capital, if COVID didn't happen and you had this rush of, a cash flow rush to be able to do these things, could you see partnering with an old time capital with the footprint of land you might have, or thousands of courses might have right now available to do this kind of thing? Does it, is that a partnership that can exist, that can coexist?
You better. I mean, I don't know if you talked to Michael, Evan, but I approached Blue Jeans before COVID because I wanted a top tracer. I could not afford it. I went to Chase. Craig Kessler, who's now at the LPGA, was with Topgolf, and he gave me a little portfolio that I could take to Chase Bank to get a loan to build top tracer. They said no. And then I talked to the Blue Jean guys. They had just started. They just left Topgolf, and I was like, what are you guys doing? They're building little leases. It's going to be complex because of the HOA relationship at Augusta Ranch. But I knew they were going to be successful. And then, you have to do it. Everything Evan is doing is investing in funnels, in my opinion. Everything that you're doing is going to eventually drive somebody to the first tee. And your tech con, Jay, that we're going to do, we're going to talk about point of sales. We're going to talk about revenue management. We're going to talk about that integration of technology and maybe how to serve customers better or track their loyalty so that we know where they're going in our businesses. But at the end of the day, we're not really creating golfers with any of that technology. We have to be funnels. And that's exactly what Evan's doing, whether it's dry box, all the things the PGA of America is investing through our EP fund or through Legion Park and the relationship we have with them are businesses that we believe are going to grow the game and eventually serve our members, whether it's a business opportunity for our members or any other way. And I think exactly what you said, Jay, is exactly what PGA professionals or anybody who has a golf course should do. If they are hurting for money or they're looking to buy a golf course, why wouldn't you talk to someone like Evan and go, okay, how can I flip the model a little bit at this little facility? And I don't know if you know it, Evan, but I started a company that I was going to really drive really hard called Community Course Rescue Services. I wanted to get into community courses, and I wanted to rescue them because that is where golf happens. Then I got elected secretary, and so I said, okay, I'm going to devote my life to being the best officer of the PGA I can and try to lead this thing better. And I found it. But what you're doing with Muni Golf or these little facilities that reside in these communities, we have to be our own funnels. We can't rely on websites to bring golfers to us. We have to create experiences that golfers tell their friends about. The best person to grow the game of golf is a golfer inviting two friends. That's viral, and that's exactly what you're investing in, Evan. And I applaud you because I think people should be reaching out to you. You're growing the game, brother. You're growing the game, and I appreciate you for that.
Yeah,
hey, Evan, let me talk about let's talk about the differences here between like the outdoor green grass, or even if you're hitting it on a mat, in that format, but you're outside, you're ground level, and that experience, and Don can attest to it, is bringing families in. It's egalitarian, and even the avid golfer can scratch the itch and go and beat balls and look at the spin rates and all the top, all the shot tracing technology and have that. So it kind of covers a lot of ground. Let's pivot for a second to the simulator business, because I'm still trying to figure out where the opportunity will be for growing the game through this. All right. And because what I'm seeing right now, we have an explosion of these facilities around America, the simulator based places. Drive boxes, obviously, I kind of drive boxes like the food truck, and these places are like the restaurants, right? And I love it. I just absolutely love all of it. What I'm seeing right now in America with these places is all the golf bros going there, and the avid golfers are patronizing the simulator places, right? And I look over to South Korea when I first kind of really started learning about the business about 10 years ago, and the story of Golf Zone over there. And the story there is, that's where young people learn to play the game, is in simulators. And the junior programs in the elementary schools, the classes are brought to the Golf Zone facilities to play golf and do all that. But in that case, you've got only 500 green grass golf courses in the entire country. So there's like a total access problem, and they're probably a 99% high-end private clubs too, right? And so there's a true access problem to green grass golf over there. In America, while the supply and demand makes it difficult for some to access it right now, right? Because the tee sheets are full, the economy is strong. Where do you see the simulator business scratching the itch for the newbie? Are they gonna get that shot euphoria in a simulator place, or is it going to continue to be kind of for the avid golfer to be able to scratch the itch when they just want to be inside and having fun?
Yeah, I really think it's both. And I think that, an important thing, and one of the things we kind of think about with the golf business is that it's not a singular experience. Golf isn't just one thing, right? It's a multitude of things. And so I think screen golf in general serves a lot of purposes, right? And it's one of the fastest growing segments in the golf industry, broadly speaking. It has a 9% year over year CAGR growth. It's big today. It's going to be massive in the future. Your question about investable pockets, honestly, we're still figuring it out. Drybox is the only screen golf business that we've invested in thus far. We've looked at a ton. I think there are folks that are doing the four-walled screen golf kind of business in a great way. The folks down at In-Town Golf Club, based out of Atlanta, and they have locations all over. It's a really interesting model. It's more high-end, private, membership-based, but they're doing really well with that business. And then there's a few others. I think that a lot of the ones that I see are food and beverage concepts with a screen golf kind of element to them. It's closer akin to that, and it's a food and beverage business, which, what you guys were talking about earlier, that's a tough business to be in. We like some of the interoperability plays within screen golf, though none of them are really there yet. We looked at the even play business really closely that the PGA of America invested in. We know those guys really well. Chris Hart at the PGA of America, and I went really deep on that business. And I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity there. Honestly, we're still kind of figuring it out. And if anyone, is an entrepreneur that's building in that category, we'd love to hear from you and help us make sense of it. But I think you're right, Jay, that like the dynamics we saw in South Korea, we're going to see elements of that here, but we have more accessibility to green grass golf courses and on-course experiences, driving ranges through, 18-hole courses here in the States than they do in South Korea. So I think our engagement with it will be different. It'll be a mix of like fun golf entertainment places that are kind of like you go to the bowling alley or you go to the screen golf place or you go to the darts place or axe throwing, and that's fine. And then there's others that are more performance oriented that are indoor training and, kind of like UGP does out in LA and some other groups that have a screen golf element there that use screen golf and simulators as training and game improvement tools. And then there's other places that use it for entertainment, obviously. And I think there's some stuff that's interesting in that category. I think to your point, Don, like we're always thinking about the entry point. We're thinking about what is the top of the funnel, what's going to capture a long tail, like lifetime value of the golfer. And so when they come in, are they going to stick around and what the resiliency looks like there? So I like the screen golf category. I think we're still candidly figuring it out a little bit.
I think we're all trying to figure it out, right? Because I mean, one thing, when I stand 30,000 feet above, how, as a golf industry executive, how can you not love seeing golf breathed into the retail places around America like this?
Yeah,
right? I mean,
sure.
It's like any sport would kill for what we have from an engagement standpoint. That our sport, our game is the epicenter of the engagement, right? Yes, there is food and beverage, but you're whacking a ball, whether it's training. So, and that is, we should be very grateful for that. And I'm just trying to figure out what is the connective tissue to long-term growth, player development, all of those things. I haven't figured it out yet, but when I see the supply trends, I think if green grass public courses, and I'm taking 100-year view here, right? Yeah. If they continue to contract, because nobody's building a daily fee golf course anymore, an 18-hole daily fee golf course. Right. When I say daily fee, I mean, $35, $40, $50 to play. So if that continues to contract, where will people play golf? I think is a strategic question for the next 100 years that this could be one of those answers. And I'm just wondering, will there be people that never leave screen golf, 75 years from now? Is that where they play?
Already exists like that, Jay. I mean, there's already people that just play all of their golf in screen golf, and that's how they interact with the game, which honestly, like, good. That's great. Like, however you want to be engaged with a game of golf, like, I'm good with. And I think that's the perspective of the wider industry needs to have, right? Is that, like, and even to your point, like daily fee golf courses, like, maybe we don't need more 18-hole golf courses that are a mix of par 3s, 4s, and 5s. Maybe we need 6-hole loops that you can go out and you can play in an hour. And maybe we need more alternative formats that like meet golfers where they are, as opposed to, try to put golfers in. I think that, like, when we look at the history of the game, and we're like students of history in that respect. I mean, old Tom Capital, right? And, the Open Championship, the world's first major championship, it was played on a 12-hole course, right? 18 holes is kind of an arbitrary number. I mean, the story of why the old course was 18 holes is kind of hilarious, right? And so I think that just breaking ourselves from this, like, modern constraint that we have with it, like, golf is only 18 holes and it takes this long and it's this proper way where you don't play red, it's like, I think we just need to break that a little bit, honestly, for the future of the game.
Don.
Jay, Mr. Chair of the Association of Associations, you know what I mean? The ecosystem is what we make it. Are we going to include screen golf into the ecosystem of golf? Do we believe that they should be included in our little pool here, and that we're going to take care of each other? And I hope the answer is yes. I mean, it's funny. We do glow golf at Augusta Ranch, but you know where the ninth hole at the ninth hole at Augusta Ranch is? Right in front of the restaurant. So yes, 100% of the people eat. But if the restaurant at your facility is just an amenity for the golfer, you are missing it. It's supposed to be a funnel for your business also. So make it fun, make it hip, have some live entertainment. And then when we do glow golf, the amount of people eat in our restaurant who go, "What's going on out there?" They see these little balls flying all over. That's cool. Can I sign up for that? Yes, I can. I think with the screen golf, if there was an association of screen golfers out there, I would want to talk to them as a golf course and say, "Hey, why don't we do some field trips? Let's get your people over to my golf course, and I'll give you a little cut in the action, and we'll get them into glow golf, or we're getting them into Top Tracer," and vice versa. I have some people that would love to do screen golf when it's 115 degrees outside. Why wouldn't Augusta Ranch set up a relationship? Because I don't want to invest in that business, or maybe I do. But if I didn't, why wouldn't I team up with some of those simulator golfs or those screen golfs around me and say, hey, how about we do a league that during the summer it's with you because it's so hot, and with the winter we do some field trips for me, and we believe that we're part of the answer of getting people to play golf. At the end of the day, 8% of the population plays golf. That's terrible. But screen golfers, and really including them. Remember, it took us a while to count how many people were at Topgolf. We did not want to include those in the people playing.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure we're even proving that we're converting them. But I know Top Tracer's converting them. That's a fact. So we've got to build the bridge to the Top Golfs and the screen golfs of the world and prove the fact that people eventually, I'll get them on a green grass.
I totally agree, Don. First of all, let's get you some dry box, units out there at Augusta Ranch during the summer months. But I totally agree. I think that golf needs to take a really Big Ten approach here. I was talking about this with a friend recently. We were talking about the UTA, right? The Tennis Association. And we were kind of pondering if, like, what if 6-7 years ago, the UTA said, pickleball, this is different, right? This is not tennis, but it's hitting a ball with a paddle over a net. What if we widen our definition and we widen our governance role and we welcome them into the UTA and we have a role and we share in the economics of it and kind of use it as a bridge to get people into traditional tennis? I think they would be in a better situation than they are today, right? And because pickleball is one of the fastest growing sports in America, and it's not tennis definitively, but it's kind of quasi tennis, right? It's like, I don't know, tennis's cousin or something like that. And you could see pretty logically how, if you were really into pickleball and never played tennis, how you might say, well, I kind of want to try tennis now. And I think that in golf, to your point, Don, like having that perspective that if someone swings a club for the first time at Topgolf and they peer a 7-iron and they're like, man, that was awesome. Like, what are the things they do next? They probably like fire up YouTube and search golf, and maybe they watch a good video, or, do they, what are those other 4 things? And then eventually, when do they contact a PGA professional and get a lesson? When do they go out and play their first round of golf? There's probably like a lot of things they do before that time period. And so how can we like widen our definition to like help them through that value chain, right?
I just had an idea. I'm connecting the dots with the PGA of America here, Evan. So in the screen golf world, imagine this, Don. Your budget is going to hurt by this, but imagine if you worked with the simulator companies and in these 2,000 locations that you log in, you go to your location, you get your fob, you go to your bay, log in, screen comes up, and somehow the screen knows, oh, this guy's shitty. His ball's going right, left. It's not, it's not. And then an ad comes up. Looks like you could use, the help of a PGA professional. Go to PGA.coach. That there's some intelligence there that these shots aren't very good, or just have, advertising for PGA.coach as people log in and see, and go to simulator joints and see the screen. There's got to be ways to integrate, because I'm trying to figure out how do you get these people sticking around? What is the engagement? What is the longevity here? And we know the longevity is when you get to a point of success, you're advancing the ball, you're seeing improvement, you're like, I want more of this, right? So there's got to be in this nerve, the way the nerves work on all this. Don, there's gotta be smarter people than me that can figure that one out.
Evan, sounds like even play to me. I don't know. You better dive into even play, Jay. Maybe that's our next guest to say this company that we are absolutely very close to. They're doing a lot of research at the UNLV PGM program. Dr. Chris Kane, a PGA professional on our board of directors, is working with them. And through facial recognition and screen golf and launch monitors, you can literally find out how good somebody is and literally build in a sense, a player rating for them, so they can compete against their daughter, they can compete against their grandma if they wanted to, and they could be in different states. So absolutely, that's what the innovation fund of the PGA of America does with the help of Elysian Park, is for us to look and dive into those ideas. Chris Hart is a superstar, a PGA golf professional who can be with Evan and understand exactly all the words Evan's using. That for those financial terms, you might start losing me, Evan, but I do know what a Kager is. But I think I called it Kagger half my life. So now I'm going to call it Kager, so I sound like I know what I'm talking about. But yes, Jay, that is exactly what the PGA of America is doing. We fully understand that if we can build a relationship and understand that the new golfers like, and I think too, we're directing a lot of efforts into, can we train up parents or friends to be better instructors, knowing that when you're ready, a PGA professional will be ready for you. And that's what we're working on with Evan and EP Partners and everybody else. We want to get people from the beginning, from cradle to grave, and everywhere in between, get them playing golf.
I want to pivot, Evan, to one of your other investments. And our
Yep.
friend Alex Van Allen, the founder of Fling Golf, here said, very cool what you've done with Grass League. So let's talk about Grass League, what it is, and what's the growth and explosion possibility for golf courses here.
Grass League is awesome. Love those guys and what they've built. So it is high stakes par 3 professional golf. It is a professional league. It's obviously an alternative golf league, but it is professional golf played under the lights in a par 3 format. Their home course is the grass clippings course out in Arizona. And, the founders behind it, Jimmy and Jake and Connor, it all started out of this kind of organic development of like a high stakes skins game out at the course. And then they kind of realized that par 3 is such a compelling format for professional golf because, the majority of golf shots shown on TV, and we're going to see this at the Ryder Cup, is that it's from 150 yards and in because, the viewer wants to see the conclusion of the hole, right? And so in a par 3 format, it's all that, right? I mean, it's all these like, you hit it from the tee box and on the green, obviously. But what's so cool about Grass League is that it's also democratized competition. So LPGA players, elite amateurs, senior tour, professional golfers can all play together in the same format, on the same tee box, on the same hole, and be competitive. Like Allison Lee was in one of the playoffs from the championship last year, right? And so, listen, it's early days. I mean, they've only had a couple of seasons. They're starting to grow, but we just led their recent investment round, and we brought in the capital stack behind the Good investment recently. So there's a lot of really sophisticated and smart professional team owners that are sitting on the cap table. A couple of professional golfers. Wyndham Clark owns a team. There's some other folks that are deeply involved in the broader sport of golf as well as professional sports. And I just think it's such a compelling format, but then also just a compelling product, right? It's Coachella meets a golf tournament on steroids. It's so fun. It's under the lights, can't be beat. Yeah, there's like concerts. There's and the crowd there is different than a traditional golf tournament. I go to a lot of golf tournaments, and we see what the crowd is, and I would say that, like, anecdotally, and we can get some stats on this, but like a lot of the people that come to these Grass League events are not even golfers. They just come there because the vibe is so strong, right? And I think it's about that entry point of like, how can we introduce and like shift people's definition of what golf is? Because when most non-golfers think of golf, they think of Sunday at the PGA Championship or Sunday at the Masters. They think of like the best players in the world hitting their best shot. It's the NFL red zone on a course that doesn't look like any other course in America because of the conditioning and the championship caliber of it. But like, that's a version of golf, but like golf is actually the 86% of golfers in America that play on a public course. It's the golfers that go out to Augusta Ranch or a golf ranch location and hit balls 3 times a week. It's the folks that go to Grass League. Like, that's actually the biggest group of the cohort within golf. And Grass League is doing just such a good job at like redefining what competitive golf means.
Okay, so I'm going to take this and try to see, how do you make this an experience at every golf course in America now, right? Because I'm just thinking, all right, I'm a member of the Daniel Island Club over here, and I love the club. I love playing there. But, they offer mostly traditional stuff, members, member guests, all that kind of stuff.
There's a place for all that. All that stuff is fun.
Right, but if they said, hey, we've got Charleston Grass League, and we're going to do, one event a month all year long, and they take the 18 holes, or they're 36 holes, and they make, 36 par 3s, come on out, have fun, and it's a fun format, and whatever the enticement is and the excitement, I'm in. That sounds fun.
Right.
I'm in on something like that. And if it's a year-long competition, do you get points, or there's got to be something where we transfer this to where every golf course owner and operator can now do something with this, and capitalize on that excitement. Because one of the things that keeps me up at night here in the golf industry is all of this really freaking cool stuff happening. right? And this golf adjacent stuff, the golf light stuff, the golf, form, all of that. And I worry that the traditional operators, even the private clubs, the public courses, that they're not taking it and doing something with it at the legacy course, right? And it doesn't have to mean, spending $500,000 on building out X, Y, and Z.
No.
There's so many things that can be done. And so I'm trying to figure out how do we get more golf course owners and operators meeting the moment right now? And this is one. If the par 3, the grass league thing is exciting as hell, what can I do right now?
Yeah,
right.
No, you're absolutely right, Jay.
See there.
Absolutely right. Nail on the head, man. And so Grass League is hitting the road, right? They're doing their first on the road tournament this year at Goat Hill Park out in Encinitas. But they're taking it on the road. And so one of the things we're helping them with is identifying other courses that want to do exactly what you just said, Jay, which is let's bring in some stadium lights that we can rent, and let's set up a Grass League event at your course, and let's take it on the road, right? If you go on their website, they have a lot of franchises spread across America. Let's bring it to some cities that have a franchise associated with it, right? And so, yeah, reach out to us. Let's talk about it and see if it's the right fit for your course. But I think that's.
Let me give you another one here, Evan. I don't know how old you are, but there used to be this thing called the Oldsmobile Scramble, right? Where golf courses around the country, could participate in this national tournament, right? And I know there's a format the PGA professionals were playing with, the members and all, in the golfers. But I could see a grass league kind of format here where you've got grass league tournaments happening at every golf course. I love the democratization of this. You're talking about the egalitarian nature. Anybody, any age, any gender can basically play par 3s, right? Okay. And to try to make this happen. So competing in a par 3 gets you into qualifiers, gets you into, whatever. Maybe what's that?
Absolutely, Jay. I love that. And you're absolutely right. Like, the question that they're really trying to answer here is, like, who is the best par 3 golfer in America? Or in the world, really. I mean, that's kind of crazy to think about, right? Because, like, sure, okay, Scotty Scheffler is the best golfer in the world, but, like, who's the best par 3 golfer in the world? And that has actually not definitively been answered. And I think you're right. Like, local qualifiers leveling up into a draft for the league, for these franchises, and other courses throughout the country and throughout the world participating in this. I mean, it's pretty easy to turn your course into a par 3 course for, like, an event or a couple of days, right? And so it's a way to just think outside the box. And to your point, Jay, it's like, how can we and how can course owners meet golfers where they are and be reflective of the macro tailwinds, right?
I love that. I love meeting them.
Jay, I gotta say, yeah, it's it's fun. I mean, one, I think, lighting technology's gotten way better. Even with Top Tracer, I think my HOA was a little freaked out, but you only need 50 yards worth of lights. Now with LEDs, they can come up, they can come down. You're not getting the leakage. You're not getting the light pollution that maybe some of the HOAs are against, or the homeowners that are close by. And certainly if it's just a one-off event, when these golf courses are busy, that helps the community. There's no doubt the houses at Augusta Ranch are worth more than the houses a block of maybe a mile away, because of the activity that we've created. And man, Evan, I just remembered we used to do the Arizona Short Course Championship at Augusta Ranch, and it was boys and girls, men and women, all playing in different flights. But we played for the green jacket, right? Because we were Augusta Ranch. Sure. And that was regardless of age who would win. And we'd repair by score on the final day. So there'd be like a 12-year-old girl playing against an 80-year-old lady, because, hey, it's a short course. Who cares? The course doesn't care. The ball doesn't know how old you are. Right. And Evan, I dig it. I mean, I've gone out there, done a little recon on grass clippings in the grass leagues to see what they're doing. And I'm like, man, if I wasn't an officer of the PGA, I'd be all in on that. You know what I mean? But we're just so darn busy at Augusta Ranch already. But I love where you're going with this, because I think to what you said, it's short courses are cool, man. And you can make a big course into a short course and get the best of both worlds.
If this becomes, as big as it could, you can see drive, chip, and putt becoming drive, approach shot, chip, and putt, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the missing piece right there, is that 150-yard shot, right? It's not in that competition.
That's right. Well, listen, we're going out to the championship in December. Don, I'm actually bringing Chris Hart out there for the championship. So Jay, Don, would love for you guys to join, and any of the course owners out there that want to see it for themselves, come out to the championship in December. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Evan, this has been a great conversation. We're going to have you back on this show because you're at the leading edge of what's happening and how the game is growing. You're investing in the margins and the growth spaces, right? And that's pretty exciting. We're going to watch what what succeeds, what doesn't, because as an investment firm, not everything succeeds, so we're all curious to see kind of what.
No, they're all going to work. They're all going to work, Jay.
None of them are dogs.
One thing to mention is on the Tea Time conference you were mentioning when I was in the backstage is we're getting ready. I think tomorrow or the next day we're going to publish a white paper on the Tea Time ecosystem, and so a lot of information in there about what we're seeing in the landscape, and so should be informative. And take a read and let me know if there's anything else we can add in anticipation of your conference.
I'm looking for. I definitely want to read that. I'm gonna extend the conversation here for a second because I see enormous possibilities with artificial intelligence with tea time booking for sure. Do you I think 5 years from now, I don't know, people say 3 months from now, but I don't know when. Yeah. Golf is while we're rapidly changing a lot of things, we're still almost as slow as the church and the banks, as far as adopting a lot of this stuff. But will golfers be using AI agents to book their tee times, and how soon will that happen? And where is it drawing from? And who's racing to get to be at top of the list in the results and all of that? I know there's a lot happening. We're going to talk about it at the Tea Time Summit. We're going to talk about it at the TechCon. But are you bullish on this? Are you, as far as the AI and tea time booking?
Yeah, we're bullish on AI as a layer that's going to help all businesses, every single kind of business, run more efficiently, right? Whether it's your back office accounting and some of the paperwork, or it's research, or it's engagement directly with your customer, whether it's a service customer, a B2B business, or a B2C business, like AI as a layer that sits inside every business. And tea time is no different, right? Tea time bookings, how golfers engage and find tee times, to how courses manage dynamic pricing and optimization of their inventory. All of it is going to be impacted by AI. And I think that the courses that are looking to adopt those things proactively are going to do better in the short term and probably in the long term. And the service providers that are layering in stuff like that right now are going to be probably the winners in the long run. So I think that, yes, it's going to transform every part of every industry, candidly. But there's a lot of off-the-shelf tools that can be helpful in that process, right? And whether it's an existing, tea time aggregator that's looking to optimize their own existing business with AI tools and a revised tech stack, to a course operator that's looking to better manage their agronomy practices with AI, right? Like every part of every business is going to be impacted. And I think that it's incumbent upon all course owners right now to start learning, which is one of the most challenging things to any business owner, right? And maybe golf industry in particular, but you got to start learning about this stuff because it's going to save you time, money, and going to result in a better product and more success in the market.
Excellent. I wanted to surface my buddy Kevin Carpenter here in the lighted course. He says, here's a leader in sports lighting solutions if folks wanted to check out lighting to happen at your local facility. And Tom Addis, our friend at the Southern California PGA. Sorry to be picky, I'm sure, but Goat Hill is in the side.
Thomas, I'm sorry about that. As I was saying Encinitas, I was like, it is definitely not an Encinitas. And so thank you for the correction. Yes, Oceanside. My apologies.
Our past president of PGA of America there, Tom Addis, my friend. So, well, ladies and gentlemen that have been tuning in, our show has come to an end. Evan, we just scratched the surface on not just your own investments, but all these great issues in golf. And it sounds like you can talk shop like the best of us here. And so we're going to have you back on the show, as the months and years go by, to see how these things are turning out and what else is coming around the corner that we can't see right now. So thank you for being on the show today.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Thanks so much, Don. Thanks, Jay. Really appreciate it. Good to see you both. Let's talk soon. Thanks, everybody, for watching.
You got it. And then everybody, just so you know, we nailed Bob Parsons is going to be at the Golf Business TechCon in person. So we look forward to having the founder of GoDaddy and the founder of PXG Golf join us. You and I, Don, will be interviewing him in the Golf Business Live opening session for TechCon on October 14th. So go to golfbusinesstechcon.com and register today to be there. Can't wait to see you. And Don, best of luck next month, man, with that cup. We hopefully we're gonna have it here for in America for a 2-year time period, so we can run that thing around the country and everybody can touch that after the event in September.
Amen. Yeah, need a double victory. Junior Ryder Cup and Ryder Cup, both Americas. Take it, and we'll see what happens. But hey, it's good for the game of golf. Billions of viewers are going to watch that, and we're going to play commercials that drive them to play more golf, and that's what we do. So that's awesome.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next month. Have a great rest of the August 2025 here, and we'll see you in September. Thanks, everybody.